On today's show, a deeper dive into the Collin Gillespie, Jalen Green, will they, won't be starting in the starting lineup. And you know what? Could they just be starting together? Plus, an injury update on Devin Booker, an official one. The Suns might have gotten a bit lucky here. Let's talk about that and much more in this edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome into Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, covering all things Arizona sports, as well as a credentialed Phoenix Suns media member, covering your Phoenix Suns 365 days out of the year for the number one sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network. However you may be listening, wherever you may be listening, thank you so much for making this show and myself a part of your day on this beautiful Wednesday night. It's really late Wednesday night, or listening probably more likely Thursday morning. Remember, Locked On Phoenix Suns, free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button to do what thousands, dare I say, millions of Suns fans have already done. Become an everyday and get locked on the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Joining me today from the Suns Jam Session podcast, also managing editor over at Bright Side of the Sun, my guy John Voida. He canceled on me yesterday, super late, I might add. I almost drove right over to his house that I've never been to, and I don't know where it's at, and sat him down in his chair and made him do a show anyways. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, we're just two guys in hoodies talking Suns, man. And late night recording this one, I got to be up in like 3 hours, it feels like, to go to work. Not that early, but it's what it feels like. It's just busy week at work, and it happens. Life happens. But you know what? The Suns are happening right now, and a lot of it's a blessing in disguise, Ben, because I wasn't here yesterday, so you had a topic that you went with, right? And we'll get to it, as we talk about Gillespie and Green and the possible starting lineups and all these theorems and these thought exercises. So you actually put out a great episode, which made a lot of people think. And I think that that's what's fun about this is the Suns have options. And because of that, I watched the show because I'm an everydayer. And I ended up writing like a 2,600 word article about that exact situation, because I like to kind of look at everything from all different angles and then make my determination. So I'm glad I canceled on you. This is a long way of me telling you that I'm glad I canceled on you so late.
Well, you know what's funny? You kind of left me out to dry. Not in this way. You are obviously doing me a favor whenever you come on the show. But when you told me you weren't going to make it, I was on a walk with my wife, and I was like, dang it. And she goes, why? And I go, because this topic is going to make some people upset. And I need someone else there to be like, well, it's not crazy, but let's talk about it. Yesterday, I had a take that I encourage everyone to go watch the full episode, but watch the first 15 minutes. I have made, and I've really come around to this. I was somewhere I was like, yeah, you're not putting Collin Gillespie in the starting lineup. He's good. He's not great. I think he's going to thrive in that six-man role. When you bring Jalen Green back, we'll see how it looks, and then we'll go from there. But he keeps pushing the envelope. And this is champagne problems, just so we're clear about this.
Yes.
We did not think that Collin Gillespie, I didn't think. I wanted him over Chris Paul. I advocate him to have more minutes this year. I didn't think he'd be this good. And I knew it would be a strong opinion. I knew people would have some issues with this. Some people told me I was rage baiting. Some people told me I didn't do the homework, and then, they all refused to watch the homework. And I think that it's a very interesting thought exercise that I think I'm leaning into. I also told everyone, I think the Suns are going to go with Jalen Green, regardless of what happens. But what's the best version of the Phoenix Suns, and what's the best version of the Phoenix Suns with Devin Booker? Not who's the best player. And what I laid out for people was Collin Gillespie is a better three-point shooter. It's not close. What I also laid out for people is in the half court, all the statistics were yesterday. You can go check it out. It's not close in the half court. Collin Gillespie is just much better than Jalen Green. And again, condensing this thought, I think Grayson Allen adds a little bit of defense. Again, not saying he's better than Jalen Green, but he adds a little bit of that defense. He adds the three-point shooting. Collin Gillespie, elite three-point shooter. Devin Booker cannot be doubled. I think teams fear leaving Collin Gillespie open from three more than they do Jalen Green. And that was basically the crux of my argument. And I got people telling me, Jalen Green is a star. How could you do this to him? And I'm like, wait a second. I just gave you the evidence why Collin Gillespie could fit in this lineup. Where's the evidence to tell me Jalen Green is a star? He might be a good player. And I'm not trying to bash on Jalen Green. But this is how I feel. How did you take it yesterday? And we're going to take this into a bunch of avenues. This might be a really long show.
So I'll ask this question of you. Do you think that that's the right move? Collin Gillespie starting, Jalen Green coming off the bench. Because there's two different things at play here, and I think that people need to understand this. It's good to explore this option. It's a valuable thought exercise because it gives you a bigger picture of the possibilities and options that you're not ultimately is going to have. Okay? And so it's one thing to go, you know what? I'm going to have the counterintuitive argument, the argument that is against the grain. And the against the grain argument would be, hey, Jalen Green, you stay on the bench. Collin Gillespie, you go out there. So it's one thing to analyze it. It's the other to think that that's the route that they should go. So do you that they should go, or are you just playing the thought exercise out?
I'm playing the thought exercise out for sure. However, I'm going to be honest with you, with the amount of people that have came after me and have told me, you're stupid, shouldn't do this, you're rage baiting, you don't know what you're talking about. It got me thinking I was wrong. And then I keep thinking about it, man. I do think it's the best case for the Phoenix Suns.
So here's
because of what I used, everyone tells me the best, he was the number one scoring option on the Houston Rockets last year as the 2 seed. I used that data. And then everyone told me, well, you can't use that data. Different team, different place. And I'm like, well, you just told me he was a star. So what am I allowed to use? And yes, I'll get in trouble for it. I got to stand by it. I do think that's the best option for the Suns.
All right. So here's where, and that's fine. Again, I just, everyone has their opinion, and that's what makes a good quality conversation worth having. And, if you're watching or listening, worth watching or listening to. So the way that I look at it is I get what those people are saying. It's hard to garner data that doesn't apply to this year, because if you look at all the data for Dillon Brooks last year, it doesn't matter in the context of this season, because this team and this season is different. Okay. And so I'm not one of those people who says Jalen Green's a star. The way that I look at it more is through the lens of, and you've heard me say this on this show before, is that Jalen Green is an experiment for the Suns. He's a $33.3 million a year experiment. And just because Collin Gillespie has had a great start to the season and had 3 good starts, right? He's only started 3 times for the Suns. We can't just scrap the idea of like, hey, we need to see what Jalen Green has in the short term for the success for the Suns, and the long term, because the Collin Gillespie should start over Jalen Green in argument, in my opinion, is us focusing on our short-term greed as a franchise. And again, it's not the worst thing, because maybe Collin Gillespie is part of our long-term plans, but we're negating the opportunity that we should be providing to Jalen Green to see what he has, to see if he's A, part of this team, or B, someone that we're going to have to try to deal at the trade deadline or in the offseason, considering he's the second highest paid player on the team. So you need to give that horse some run. So the way that I look at it, Ben, is I had a third option here, right? So you're talking about a lineup where it's Collin Gillespie, Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams, right? That's like option number 1. The other option is, okay, Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Grayson Allen, Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams. So you've changed out Gillespie for Jalen Green. Booker's now the point. Jalen Green is now the 2. But the third option that we could explore is, why not Hannah Montana this thing? Let's get the best of both worlds. Why don't we go Collin Gillespie, Jalen Green, Devin Booker, Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams?
Are you asking me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. I read your article today, and by the way, everyone should go check it out. I think it's the first time in my life. This is the one proud moment of it. It's the first time in my life where I put something out there and I actually got the whole community to talk about it. Now, 70% of them wanted to rip my head off, but it was still kind of cool. So go check that out on Bright Side of the Sun. He wrote a 2,700 word article breaking down 3 separate lineups. This was one of them. I thought about this, and I talked about this yesterday on the show. You can't give up that much height. It is one or the other.
You're giving up. You're giving up 3 inches of height.
Well, what I would say to that is, if you're sticking Dillon Brooks at the 4, and you mentioned this, he is someone, in your own words, punches up in the Draymond Green role. I don't necessarily think I'm getting super small there. And it's not just size, but I think Grayson Allen is not only a better defensive player than Jalen Green, I think he's a much better player than Jalen Green. And I think Collin Gillespie has that peskiness, annoying point guard player that can hold his own defensively as well. So when you say best of both worlds, the best of both worlds that I think I'm getting is I'm not losing all of the defense. In fact, I'm still keeping most of it, but I'm gaining a lot more of this offensive firepower that I know works. And it's really surprising to me, the amount of people that are like, well, what about door number 2? We haven't seen that one yet. It could be terrible, but what if it's really good? And I'm like, well, we already have it really good. Colin Gillespie's really good. And so that's why. It just feels like when you add the combination of Jalen Green is not a great defender, Devin Booker, when not surrounded around Ryan Dunn, Dillon Brooks, or in this instance, it would be Dillon Brooks and Ryan Dunn. He's not a great defender either. I wonder how much the gravitation of Dillon Brooks and Ryan Dunn is helping Mark Williams. It then starts to like Spider-Man cannon effect a little bit, where it all just comes undone, where I'm not trying to change too much. And then here's the other thing. That might be too many ball handlers. Because then is Colin Gillespie just going in the Tyus Jones role, where he's the point guard to make everyone feel better, but when is he going to actually handle the ball? Like, is he going to handle it third to Jalen Green, Devin Booker? Then I actually think Colin Gillespie should go to the bench. I said a lot of words there. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, and I'm gonna retort to every one of them. One,
I was gonna say, I don't want to cut you off, so let's take this into the second segment, and I'm gonna let you respond.
I will ask you this question before we go into the segment, so we can leave a cliffhanger while you read an ad. Who's a better defender, Devin Booker or Grayson Allen? Now go pay some bills.
Let's talk about that next. Today's show is brought to you by Robin Hood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robin Hood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robin Hood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part in a live market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Last time on Locked On Phoenix Suns, John Voida threw the question to me: who do I think is a better defender, Devin Booker or Grayson Allen? Because I feel like there's a curveball coming, and I really do believe this. I'm going to answer it in two ways. It depends who's on the floor. On their own, like we're playing 5-on-5, and I just got to pick one guy. I do think Grayson Allen is the better defender. I do think Devin Booker has shown some strengths defending when he's covered by a McHale, a Cam Johnson, or in this instance, a Brooks and Dunn.
So here's why I say Devin Booker, because in my third option, it's Colin Gillespie at the 1, Jalen Green at the 2, Devin Booker at the 3 instead of Grayson Allen. Okay, and then Dillon Brooks and Mark Williams. Under that lineup, and here's the reason why I go that way, and the reason that I'm not very big on Colin Gillespie and Devin Booker, right, instead of Jalen Green, having Jalen Green come off the bench for the reasons I said earlier, for the money reasons, that you got to give him some runway to see what he is for the long-term health of the franchise. I would say last season we had an issue with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal because they're duplicative, right? They're the Spider-Man meme.
Facsimiles, 100%.
Okay? So if you look at Colin Gillespie and Devin Booker, I would say that they're more similar as players than Devin Booker and Jalen Green. Because Devin Booker is more of a facilitator, as is Colin Gillespie. Their shot diets are completely different. The advantage of having Jalen Green on the floor with Devin Booker is Jalen Green shoots the three too much. We know that. But he attacks and he gets to the cylinder and he bends defenses. Okay, he shoots like 44% of his shots are at the rim. Whereas Devin Booker, it's like 28.
I can
20 and Devin Booker, and I've got a shot chart over the past 4 years, and it shows just that. It shows that Jalen Green shoots 19% of his shots in the mid-range, and he's kind of poor at doing it. And we know that that's where Devin Booker thrives. And so you kind of have this conundrum in front of you. It's like when you have Devin Booker and you have Collin Gillespie on the floor at the same time, there's a challenge there because you have so much potential playmaking. Now, granted, Devin Booker isn't as secure with the ball as Collin Gillespie is. But if you pull Collin Gillespie and you go, you know what? We have him come off the bench. You have Devin Booker as a facilitator. You have Jalen Green operating efficiently and maybe not efficiently, but operating in the spaces in which Devin Booker doesn't excel. They complement each other, and then you can sprinkle in Collin Gillespie. And that's what a lot of people's argument is. But for me,
interesting.
I think that having that third lineup where it's like, okay, let's just put them all out there. Let's do the 3-guard lineup, but let's do it right this time, Ben, because last year we did the 3-guard lineup and Tyus Jones didn't work and Bradley Beal didn't work and Devin Booker didn't work. And the primary problem with those teams is they were bad defensively because we were, as you mentioned earlier, concerned about size and concerned about height. This wasn't a great defensive team. Whereas this
also
year,
old. That's another thing too. Is like they were also old,
not athletic. All of those things that are going against them. Whereas Collin Gillespie, Jalen Green, those guys are super young. Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams, those guys are super engaged. And, in Williams' case, also young. So it's almost taking the philosophies of last year and upgrading it with the modern NBA. The only challenge with what that lineup would be, again, Collin Gillespie, Jalen Green, Devin Booker, Dillon Brooks, and Mark Williams, is it's like the Oklahoma City Thunder, just smaller, because they have the hustle. They have the guys who are going to crash the boards. They're going to have the playmaking, and now you have it coming out of Collin Gillespie and Devin Booker. Jalen Green's not a playmaker out there. He is purely going to be somebody who's going to be your slasher, your attacker, the guy who takes defensive gravity with him. And in the same token, with Collin Gillespie out there, Devin Booker can excel in being who he is when he doesn't have the ball and playing off-ball book. So that's why I kind of lean in towards that third lineup.
So let me ask you this: rank those for me. So what would be your? I guess I would say, what's the differencing in what my lineup is?
Yep.
Collin Gillespie, Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams, and the lineup you put out, the 3-guard lineup: Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams. It's so funny how
Dillon Brooks and Mark Williams are
inevitable.
Yeah, well, they're part of every one of these lineups. The key is the 2 guards and the small forward, essentially. The difference is so.
Is this feet, not inches for you?
Meaning
you will take the 3-guard lineup over my lineup in a heartbeat, or is it close?
It's not close because if I could do it, my first option would be Collin Gillespie, Jalen Green, Devin Booker. My second option would be Collin Gillespie coming off the bench. And it's Devin Booker, Jalen Green, and Grayson Allen, which is kind of what everyone thought at the front end of the season. And my third option would be Collin Gillespie, Devin Booker, Grayson Allen with Green coming in off the bench. That's kind of how I would now again, and I'll preface all of this. It doesn't matter who you start, it's who you finish with. And the fact that there's 3 options that we're exploring right now means that at the end of the games, Jordan Ott can pull these different levers based on matchups and go, you know what? We need more playmaking against this team. And so I'm going to put Gillespie, Green, and Booker out there. You know what? We need a little bit more size to appease Ben, or we're playing a long team. We have Booker, Green, Allen. You know what? Jalen Green, irresponsible in some of his shot making. We need Grayson Allen out there to be a quality 3-point shooter instead of having Jalen Green standing in the wing. We rather have Allen. Now it's Gillespie, Booker, Allen. So there's options, and that's why this is a fun thought exercise, and no reason anybody should get mad or be dismissive of it all, because I think that, again, it's important to understand that it's not about who starts, it's about who finishes. And also, these are good conversations because these are good options to have.
It's so funny. That's what I prefaced it with yesterday too, is like, just so we're clear, I'm not saying send Jalen Green to the bench and give him his Game Boy and a sandwich and tell him to shut up. He's going to play 30 minutes a night. Here's the funny thing about it. And here's what's going to make everyone's brains explode. I actually think I'd rather end games with Jalen Green than Colin Gillespie.
Now, why is
Because I have PTSD, and I'm willing to say this is a bad argument. I think my argument yesterday was really good. This is a bad argument, and I could probably be swayed off it very quickly. I have so much PTSD from last year getting pushed around, being too small, and opposing teams headhunting Bradley Beal or Tyus Jones late in games.
Old.
I don't want Colin Gillespie at 6'1" to be headhunted.
But
and you know what's kind of interesting to me? Teams haven't done that. And I don't know if it's because Colin's just a good defender or if the Suns are doing a better job.
No, I'll tell you why. And it's completely justifiable because I know that feeling. But the difference between then
last year was
and now
terrible.
Is even Colin Gillespie is Villain Jr., my friend. He punches above his weight too. He might be 6'1", but he's feisty. He plays physical. He can steal the ball. He's tactical in the way that he plays. So you can't attack him defensively like he's a Bradley Beal. The weak link, if you have that lineup out there, in my opinion, becomes Jalen Green. Devin Booker has been playing better defense this year.
I get that too.
You know what I mean? So Jalen Green would be the man who is hunted. But even in that scenario, you're hunting him to try to get a quality three-point shot. You're not hunting him to take him to the rack because the way that Mark Williams engulfs space and the way that Dillon Brooks plays off ball, it's not going to always work in your favor. Look at the Lakers the other night. That was the issue. Luka Doncic said it. He's like, hey, man, I'm so used to people trying to force the ball out of my hands. The Suns in the second quarter on started trying to let me score, and I was trying to facilitate, and they were staying home. You know, and because when I would try to get down to the hoop, who's standing there? Well, it's Mark Williams. He's huge, you know? So he's throwing the ball away left and right because the Suns are like, yeah, okay, man. Olay, dude, go for 45 tonight, man. We're not going to let anybody else do anything. And he didn't know what to do. He started throwing the ball away. So I don't think that the PTSD that you feel, the post-traumatic Suns disorder that you have, you can let it go, man. With Colin Gillespie, with Dillon Brooks, with these players and their hustle and their attention to detail and the way that they swarm and close out. I mean, they're nonstop. You hear it on every podcast nationally. Everyone's saying the same thing, Ben. Nobody plays harder than the Suns. And gosh darn it, it feels good to watch a team that plays with this much.
JJ Redick taking my line straight up. Which means he's just an everydayer, or my ego's getting a little too big. I said at the beginning of the season, by the way, I didn't think they'd be this good, but I said, you better come in. The Suns' identity is going to be obviously defensive, but my narrative was teams are going to come into Phoenix thinking it's a Tuesday night against Detroit. Well, I guess Detroit's good now. That used to be the running joke.
Charlotte.
A Tuesday night against Charlotte in April and think, oh, God, we can kind of coast through this one and we'll win by 10. And they're going to walk out of every single game thinking, what the hell? Like the Oklahoma City one, we won. Yeah. What the hell was that?
Yeah.
And so, and there's a thing I said early in the season was when the Suns beat the Clippers for the second time was don't walk into here thinking you can play your C game and win because you're going to get your ass beat if you do.
This ain't the old Suns of the past few seasons, my friend. I wrote a little article about that exact thing. There's two different things happening. Like one, teams come into Phoenix when Kevin Durant was here and they would get up for it because they were playing against Kevin Durant, their idol.
Yeah.
And two, they knew that the effort that Phoenix provided on defense was lackluster and comical. Great. And now they're gaining a reputation. It's like, man, we get the sigh now. Oh, we got to play the Suns, man, because they know that Dillon Brooks, Colin Gillespie, Jordan Goodwin, Devin Booker, Mark Williams, they're just going to keep coming at you, man, like Tasmanian devils. And so when we talk about these different lineups, a lot of people, you can go and you can find the advanced metrics for and against your case. I was looking at it because I feel like a good baseline for comparing players like Colin Gillespie and Devin Booker, and I want to see how they are playmaking. So I looked at per 36 numbers on off, right? Yeah. How does Colin Gillespie operate per 36 when Devin Booker's not on the floor with him? He averages about 7 assists a game. And Devin Booker, when he's not on the floor, or I'm sorry, when Colin Gillespie's not on the floor, he averages about 7 assists a game. So they both do the same thing well when the other one's off the court. Okay, and that's kind of the argument for having Gillespie come off the bench, right? Obviously, the challenge with Devin Booker is his, assist to turnover ratio is like 2.8, and Colin Gillespie's is 1.8. So he's a lot more secure with the ball. That he being Colin, and that's why after I was doing all that research, I go, you know what? That's why I want Colin still out there running this unit. And we know we got scoring coming off the bench. You have Royce O'Neal, you have Grayson Allen. Those guys can come off the bench and score. I mean, the G League guys, Rasheer Fleming went for 27 tonight, man, and 13.
Saw that.
Kamon Malawach went for 27 and 15 out of the G tonight, man. This team is like the Brian Gregory vision is alive and well in Phoenix.
People got so mad at me. People got so mad at me because I kept on saying that Brian Gregory's got the personality of a potato, and he does. He does, but man, can he build a team?
So far, so good.
That guy build a team? Hey, listen, you don't have to say anything. You could next time the next press conferences, Brian Gregory, you could fart into the microphone for 15 minutes. I don't care. I don't care. If actually, I actually probably my immature, butt probably think it's funny, and just build a good team. Also, here's the last statistic I'll say, because I want to prove to everyone that I was like, what the biggest thing is like Devin Booker is going to get doubled a lot. Who is going to make opposing teams pay for that? Jalen Green shot 32.6 on catch and shoot 3-pointers last year.
Yeah, but if he's getting doubled.
Collin Gillespie shooting. Okay, unguarded. Okay, fine. Unguarded catch and shoot threes, 55%. Ooh. Oh, you think he won that argument? Colin Gillespie shooting 70%.
Those are good problems to have.
Those are good problems. Those are
actually good problems to have. And guess what? If Jalen Green is out there and Colin Gillespie has been playing the way that he has, Devin's going to see less doubles when he's healthy.
Yeah. Dude, 70%. Gosh.
Ridiculous.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a Jalen Green jersey and just piss off everyone and wear it during the show.
I want a Gillespie jersey. Number 12, it's a good number. He reminds me of John Stockton, the way he plays. Like, not nearly as good of a facilitator, but he's a dog, man. Stockton, I mean, you're probably a little too young for the Stockton days, but that guy, you should just throw elbows in the ribs of guys, and you're just like, dude, what was that, man? Like, because the Suns used to play the Jazz all the time growing up, and we'd have the better for the most part until we traded Barkley away. But I mean, Stockton was dirty, and like Colin Gillespie got that villain junior, man, and he rocks number 12. He's a little undersized. Love it. I'm gonna get a call from my boss tomorrow about going to break so late. But you know what? These are the conversations. Devin Booker is back. What am I saying? Devin Booker is not back. Devin Booker will be reevaluated in 1 week with a groin strain, right groin soreness. Is it a strain? I thought they called it soreness. They called it, I think Shams called it a strain, right groin strain.
Well, that's a little concerning, and that throws it out of the loop.
That's why it's a reevaluation.
Tune in to Locked On Phoenix Suns next segment. We're going to talk about it. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for the fine print. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. Okay, so per Shams Charania, and it probably would have been better for me to have the tweet ready.
I got it. Phoenix Suns star Devin Booker has sustained a right groin strain and will be reevaluated in 1 week. Sources tell ESPN. Best case for Booker and the Suns, who are a surprise 13-9 and in the West playoff picture so far this season. So he said best case for the Suns.
It is okay. So maybe they're just classifying it as that because they're classifying as that. When the Suns came out immediately and said it was a hamstring or groin soreness, these soft tissue injuries, man, hamstring with groin soft tissue injury. It's so funny. I think I've talked about it with you on the show. I'm like, hey, Devin Booker's going to have that soft tissue injury. We just don't know when.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to happen. And it's happened. It's
almost
so funny.
every
It's actually
December.
happened. It's funny. I think it's 3 of the last 4 Decembers he's gotten a groin injury or soft tissue, I guess I should say. And
no, it's been
groin.
The last 4 years, it's been groin.
Because I remember he had a hamstring injury.
He had a hamstring 3 years ago, and what happened in December? It cost him 2 games. He came back early, and then it turned into a groin. Then it cost him 21 days. But yeah, he had a hamstring injury against the Pelicans in the playoffs. He's had numerous soft tissue issues going all the way back to 2017.
And to be completely honest, if we were going to deal with a nagging injury for a player, this is a lot better than, Steph Curry's ankles earlier in the year, or Giannis Antetokounmpo just strained his calf. Like,
conveniently,
it's much better than the alternatives. When I saw this, I thought to myself, okay, you got, as of today, 7 days until you play Oklahoma City, and little fine print for you guys. If the Suns beat Oklahoma City in that game, I'm really working on making it to Vegas so we can cover the NBA Cup over there. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully we can make that happen. We'll see if we can make that happen. And they got to beat Oklahoma City next week. But I felt very particular at the Suns, like, hey, we're going to reevaluate that next week. I think there's a real chance. So yesterday I said, okay, maybe he misses 5 games. 5 games would put them at like December 23rd. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a 2 to 3 game thing. When do you think he'll be back? And obviously, what do the Suns got to do to weather the storm without Book?
Well, step one, I do think this is best case scenario for the Suns. You hear it's a groin strain, but it's only going to be 1 week for evaluation. But again, reevaluated in 1 week doesn't mean necessarily he's back in 1 week. It also kind of happened at a time relative to the schedule that is convenient for the Suns, because as you mentioned, they play Houston on Friday. They play the Minnesota Timberwolves on Monday, and then a week from the night we're recording this is that NBA Cup game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's funny because they had 7 games in 11 nights, and now they have like 1 in 7. It's ridiculous. I wrote a whole article just blasting the NBA for the way that they've done scheduling, and the name of the article is quite simply the fact that Devin Booker's injury, it's a setback that feels less like bad luck and more like bad design because of the schedule. Now, if the Suns beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, as you mentioned, they'll go to Vegas and play the winner of the Spurs and the Lakers a couple nights later. If they lose, they will go to either San Antonio or Los Angeles in the losers bracket, if you will, in the NBA Cup. So I think that, in all honesty, after that OKC the Cup game, if the Suns can somehow beat the Thunder, which is impossible, they're 21-1. I don't care what anyone says. Generational team. But if somehow they can beat them and they go to Las Vegas, I think we see Booker. If they lose that game and they have to go to Los Angeles or to San Antonio, whoever loses in that matchup, then I think we wait until probably, the next Thursday, because they're going to play Oklahoma City. They would play 2 days later, which is December 12th. The next game after that, Ben, is December 18th against Oklahoma City. So they might use the odd scheduling that happens in December around the NBA Cup as an opportunity to get Booker more rest. And we might catch some L's in the meantime. And you know what? I'm not totally opposed to giving him some rest in that scenario. Even if we lose to OKC, you sit him 1 more game, you get 6 more days of rest. Why wouldn't you do that?
So let me ask you this. I do think it came in a very opportune time because you've got the Rockets on Friday. Did you feel good about that game even with Devin Booker?
I did. I never doubt this Suns team, man. I know what they did us last time, but I feel like this one's in Houston. This is Dylan Brooks going back, right? And with Booker there and the way that this team is feeling themselves right now, and Grayson Allen's back because he wasn't available for that matchup. We didn't play Mark Williams in that matchup because we played him the night before against San Antonio. There's an opportunity to kind of go to Houston and punch him in the face once. I think that it exists. So I was excited for that.
Okay, well, they got Minnesota on Monday. I'll tell you what. I'm not interested in sending a 75% Devin Booker out to the jaws of Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. I think he's going to play next Wednesday.
Think so?
I think he's going to play. I think Booker is going to do everything in his power to play in that NBA Cup game, because can you imagine if the lowly Phoenix Suns not only eliminate the Oklahoma City Thunder, give them their second loss of the season?
It'd be amazing.
I think they almost beat them.
4 points. Last possession of the game. They were this so close. Funny. For those listening, I'm like, it's 4 inches from Mark Williams grabbing that loose ball after Colin Gillespie knocked it away from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to tying the game or potentially winning it. That's how close they were to beating OKC. It was close.
I don't think it's impossible. I think Booker's back. And like, if we're just talking about what needs to be better, like these are the things I was talking about the last couple of days, is like, this is the next test for Colin Gillespie. You keep acing every grade. Can you ace being the second scorer on this team and have the opposing team's second best defender on you? Like, are you going to pass that test too? And so the Rockets were probably a baked in L, and Minnesota's a really tough matchup. They stole one of those away from them early in the season. Remember, that game in the second half was not particularly close. Mm-hmm. I think he's back next week, and I think they win.
I hope you're right.
I think the way you feel about the Rockets game, like for me, no statistical analysis. This is just that gut feeling thing that, like, if I'm right, you don't get to say you're right. You didn't have a reasoning to back it up. But you do get to be like, oh, I said it. Like,
you'll like, snip the clip.
like when I said a couple weeks ago when they played San Antonio the first time, I was like, no, wait a second. There was something in that Utah game that clicked. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to beat San Antonio. And I was right. But I felt like there was some analysis to that. I'm just on a whim and a prayer here. Just on a whim and a prayer.
Okay,
living on a prayer.
Good, man.
Also, as we end the show, didn't love that you went Hannah Montana for Best of Both Worlds and not Van Halen.
Is there a Van Halen song called Best of Both Worlds?
Yes. Well, I don't know if it's called Best of Both Worlds, but it's like literally you get the best of
not both. A big Van Halen guy. I liked real rock in that time, like Metallica.
Okay.
Metallica.
Don't be that guy, dude. Everyone likes a little David Lee Roth. The only people that don't like David Lee Roth are the people that lie.
I honestly don't know it. I just didn't grow up listening to that, the hair bands.
That's what I did.
Now, granted, like Eddie Van Halen was an amazing guitarist, but like a lot of the hair bands of the 80s, I disagree. Jimi Hendrix was the greatest, man.
No, Eddie Van Halen's the greatest.
He flipped the guitar upside down and changed rock and roll forever.
Do you play guitar at all?
No, I've owned a guitar like my entire life, and I don't have the patience to learn it. I got 2 in the garage.
It's so funny. Because the same people that say, or the same NBA players that say, you don't get to have an opinion.
Yeah,
you didn't play the sport. I'm like, I have an opinion on music, and the only thing I play is running my mouth. That's all it is. Anyways, John Voida, I'd appreciate if your hoodie went up for me.
It's that time.
So we can end the show. Oh, good. You just hit your cat, I think is what I heard. You can't hear me. That's good. You don't have your headphones on. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Follow him at Darth Voida. And tell us what you think. Give us your best Suns starting lineup. Maybe it's just leaving Devin Booker out. Someone said on social media today, they were like, this guy's going to say Jamari Bouye should start over Devin Booker. I'm like, I don't know. I might. Don't put it past me. With that being said, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Phoenix Suns. I'm Benjamin Garcia, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
We just explain it, and then we get our checks in the mail. Let's have to paint it. We can come from practically nothing to being